Joining me right now is Kentucky Democratic Congressman John Yarmuth, a member of the House Gang of Seven that's working on immigration. Sir, it's good to have you here. And Congressman,
thank you, Thomas.
As we know, with Speaker Boehner basically throwing cold water on the Senate's version, the Washington Post is reporting, though, that the House has several options here. I want to go over them real quickly. The first being strike down the Senate bill, then draft one exactly like it. The other option, introduce its own comprehensive bill. And then option three, consider separate immigration bills that combine them into one package in and of itself. But with Speaker Boehner saying that he won't even bring this to the floor without the Hastert rule in effect, do you think that there really is a path for what the Senate sent over for what the House can do now?
Well, I actually do think that the House will take separate action. I don't think the Senate bill does have much of a chance. Even though the comprehensive package that our group has developed, which we're going to be releasing very shortly, deals with many of the same issues in very similar ways. So on many of the issues, there's not a substantial difference between House and Senate. But clearly, we all knew, and it was a guiding principle of our work, that nothing that we came out with could be to the left of the Senate's bill, or it was going to be a non-starter in the House. So we're still very optimistic. This is a unique situation in which there is a wide array of outside interests that never worked together and never agreed that are now in agreement on a comprehensive package.
Well, one thing we're watching, sir, the clock tick down as the year goes away and we get closer to your recess. July 10th, though, is the big day when the House Republican caucus is going to meet in the Capitol basement to try and hash all of this out. But GOP aides are reportedly skeptical that any amount of border security is going to be enough to get a majority of Republicans to support the immigration bill. So if you were advising Speaker Boehner, what would you tell him to do to prevent his caucus from making a move that would permanently alienate Hispanic voters?
Well, I think Speaker Boehner is very well of the dynamics facing the prospects in the House. He met last week with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. They had a very, very productive meeting. So he understands where everyone is, where all the cards are on this issue. And ultimately, he and his conference are going to have to decide what strategy they're going to use. They know, first of all, that many of their big financial donors are supporting this package. And really, the only people who are opposing comprehensive immigration reform are the far right in this country, and so they're going to be in a difficult spot. And Mitch McConnell in my state's facing the same thing. He's worried about a challenge from his right in the Republican primary next year, but many of the interests that he's supported and have supported him over the years want this very badly.
Is that the biggest issue right now, fear and intimidation from the far right Tea Partiers that are willing to challenge and take away John Boehner's speakership?
That is the only threat to comprehensive immigration reform, is the threat of primaries for Republicans in many of these House districts. And it's a shame because ultimately, if they stop it, it's going to be stopped by a very small minority of Americans.
Congressman John Yarmuth of Kentucky. Sir, great to have you on today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Thomas.